Okay, so it's time for our next speaker. Really great to hear from Audrey. Following on from Audrey, we have Abed Ahmed, who is going to be talking to us about supporting young people and colleagues who stammer. So I'd like to welcome Abed into the studio. Morning.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Let's just start off with I'll give you all about 30 to 45 seconds. Can you read the messages that you can see on the screen? And if you could type onto the YouTube chat how this makes you feel just by reading it. Okay, I'll give you about 15 more seconds. Okay, so I'm pretty sure that reading these messages makes you feel really sad and makes you feel really shocked at the fact that some of these things have taken place within a school setting and teachers have been on the other side. So what I'm going to do is talk about how you can support students and maybe your colleagues who stammer. So I'm a maths teacher, head of the department. I've been teaching now for 7 years, and I'm a person who who's 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 who stammers, and I've been stammering since the age of 4. What I would like to think is that I do now stammer with a lot more confidence instead. So it's really important that you know the facts about stammering. Now, it's a neurological condition that makes it physically hard to speak. It's also known as stuttering. It can have a negative effect on mental health. There's a lot of people that do feel suicidal about it. A lot of young people choose to hide their stammer because they're afraid, they're really embarrassed. Now, up to 8% of children will stammer at some point in their life. However, 1 to 3% will go on to stammer for the rest of their lives. Boys are 3 to 4 times more likely to stammer than girls. Stammering covers a wide spectrum. Everyone's stammer is different. Now, how do you identify, firstly, a child who stammers? So basically, someone who might sound like me. So you might hear like a repetition of sounds and words, stretching of sounds, blocking of sounds, so no sounds coming out of their mouth. That's what happens to me when I try and say my name. That's why I didn't even start by talking about my name. Stopping or pausing mid sentence, tapping on the table to get a rhythm of speech. These are some of the things that some children might do. What you might see is facial tension around them mouth when they're trying to speak, replacing words that they get stuck on. We're very good at it. We are an expert in the thesaurus. They may show signs of a reserved personality. Now, these are the do's and don'ts when speaking to a child who stammer. Don't interrupt their sentences. Don't finish off their sentences. Don't advise them on how to speak fluently. However, if you are working with a very, very young child, like someone who's 3 to 4, 5 years old, of course, what you might want to say to them is, okay, slow down, take a breather. Do you want to come back and try again? Of course, the more older the children get, I wouldn't do that because they will know how to try and manage their own stammer. Don't make jokes about stammering. Don't treat them differently in front of the peers. Of course, we do have to make adjustments for children, but don't make it too obvious. Now, children who stammer, they will find it hard to make eye contact, and that's okay. Don't punish them for it. What you can do is, of course, try and maintain your eye contact. Always encourage them privately and praise them publicly. Always give them time to speak. Now, I'll come back to that. Now, this is the main slide that I've made for teachers. Now, reasonable adjustments that you can make. Speak to your students to find out what they are comfortable with. You will realize that majority of them will be okay with the tasks that you do. Give all your children 30 seconds thinking time before cold calling. I'm a big fan of cold calling, but a good teaching and learning technique is maybe you might want to say, okay, guys, I am going to choose someone from this room. However, I'm going to give you the question first and I'm going to give you 22 seconds thinking time. What are the factors of 35? Think, and then choose. At least that way, you're giving someone, a child who stammers, a bit of time to really think. If you put them on the spot, they might struggle. Don't measure success by expecting quick responses. I'm a maths teacher, so I don't expect kids. Well, apparently, I should be expecting kids to know the timetables just like that. What harm does it do if it takes them a few seconds? Does it really? Does it really matter? Always give students 25% extra time doing oral tasks. This is advised by exam boards. So if they're doing a presentation, give them that time. Avoid high pressure situations like icebreakers. At the start of the year, please don't get all your kids to stand up and talk about themselves. If I told you all to unmute yourself, to put your cameras on, talk to me about yourself, you'd hate it. Students are no different. Okay, what you can do instead is give every child a post-it note. Tell them to write something down, and you can maybe read it. That's so much better. And I don't buy the thing where we start saying, but we're trying to increase their confidence. You doing an icebreaker and to get them to stand up is probably not going to increase their confidence. I think confidence should be seen as a whole school thing, and school should be doing as a whole school thing, and not just you doing your lesson. Now, attend to your students more when circulating around the room, because they might struggle to put up their hands. Biggest one, and in fact, he's spoken a lot on Twitter a couple of weeks ago, but I've always been a fan of it, and I have made it compulsory within my department that every lesson there should be mini whiteboards on the table, not just for children who stammer, but for all children. It's the best, the most fastest, effective way to get answers from your students. However, you need to use mini whiteboards effectively and not use it for the sake of it. Okay. Now, do allow alternative responses to the register if they struggle to say yes, sir, or yes, miss. Now, as a whole school, what can you do? The Senko should hopefully be raising awareness of stammering amongst staff. If you're not too comfortable, please speak to me. I'm more than happy to provide some training for free. Educate your staff on reasonable adjustments that can be made, and make staff aware of the register that has all your send students, and especially the students with speech and language communication needs. Continue to educate your children about equality, diversity, disability, and making it normal to accept that there are many of us who are different. Create a confidence building group. Now, this doesn't just need to be for children with stammer. It could be for like any of your children. So I'm a big fan of trying to increase a child's confidence first, rather than going into techniques about how to improve your stammer. Employ speech and language therapists. Seek support from stammering related charities. And of course, so I'm stammering a lot more here. Celebrate International Stammering Awareness Day on the 22nd of October. Now, these are true responses of children who stammer that said that they wish their teacher knew. So I wish that my teacher knew that some days I really don't want to talk, and that's okay. Some days I really dislike reading out loud in front of a class. You might want to get them in smaller groups, or you might just want to wait until they're ready. Sometimes I wish that my teacher knew that tiredness makes me stammer more. It does. So look out for period 1 and the last period of the day. They are more likely to stammer. Okay. I really wish that my teacher knew that some children make fun of my stammer. I really wish that my teacher knew that I have so much to say, but I'm too embarrassed. Get your whiteboards out then. I wish my teacher knew that I really dislike when people finish my sentences, when people put me on the spot. Stammering makes me feel emotionally and physically tired. I can't explain to you how right now I'm feeling really physically drained, because it just takes so much out of my body speaking for a long period of time. I don't know what I was thinking going into teaching, but I do love my job. That's a couple of more slides that I think that you might find interesting. So I have made a couple for children as well. Like, do you have a friend who stammers? And if so, continue being a good friend. Ask them how they are, if they look upset. Don't make jokes about stammering. Tell the teacher if your friend is being bullied. Don't interrupt the sentences. Give them time to speak. Help your friend if they need it. Don't treat them differently. And this can apply to your colleagues as well. If someone in this stream is a person who stammers, stammer with confidence and a smile on your face. Be proud of who you are. Try your best in everything that you do. Never give up on your dreams. Talk to your friends about stammering. Tell your teacher about what you're comfortable with. Tell your teacher how they can support you. Tell your teacher if someone is pulling you. Now, just to finish off, I do provide free support online once a month on a Sunday. It's purely just confidence building activities. Parents must attend with the child, and they do have to register. I do also provide one during school time. So if you're a Senko, or if you're a teacher with a child who stammers, please speak to your Senko and say that there's a teacher out there who's willing to do free support sessions during school time nationally. I hope that you have learned something new. Feel free to follow me on Twitter, which is stammer_teacher. Thank you.
Abed, I always love listening to you, and I've had the privilege of listening to you a few times now, and I always learn lots. And you've got lots of lovely comments about your fantastic slides and resources and the generosity in which you share. My first observation is that we didn't make a reasonable adjustment for you today with your slot, and we could have given you a little bit of extra time. So I'm sat here reflecting on you challenging us as teachers about the time we give to children. But as an event organizer, you're making me think about, actually, I should have checked, did you want a little bit longer for your own presentation? So thank you for challenging me there and how we curate these events, firstly.
It's totally fine. And I've done these so many times, I've mastered 10 minutes.
You have, I know, you've got it nailed down, but I think it's good to constantly being challenged around how we can be accessible and inclusive for the adults as well. And something I noticed in you, that I had a speech impediment as a child, that I speak quickly to mask my speech impediment. And when I can hear you picking up speed during the presentation, is that how you kind of you manage it? That you get into that rhythm, and that's how you get that flow when you are communicating?
So it's probably totally opposite. The only reason why I've been picking up speed, of course, two things: because I was aware of the time, and the way and because I've done this so many times, it's so ingrained into my mind that I know what I need to say. But this was a totally different presentation. There's no chance that I would have been able to speak as fast and maybe as fluently in certain times, which just shows that stammering, it does. It's totally random. Some days you might be fluent more than other days, and some days you might be disfluent more than other days.
Do we know why? You said about more boys than girls being diagnosed with stammering and stuttering. Do we know why that is? Why do more boys suffer from it?
So there is no official reason why, but we do know that stammering is down to how your brain is wired during the speech part, and unfortunately, it just seems to be a lot more common in boys. However, we do know that statistically, girls are better at masking disabilities and hiding a bit of it until they get a bit more older. So that could be a possible factor. But it's just like any other. I'm pretty sure for autism, it's a very similar stat that boys are 3 to 4 times more likely to have autism as well. So we're not exactly too sure why.
Yeah, it's really interesting. And we've got Lizzie talking at the end of the event today about girls and autism in particular, so she might pick some of that up. And my other question is about you, when you went through your teacher training, what kind of support did you get? You said how did I end up being a teacher where I have to talk all day? It's exhausting. But what about the actual training pathway you took? Was there good support there for you?
So I think I was really good at masking it sometimes, and at that point in my life, I was still not comfortable with talking about my stammer so openly. But I do know that if I did request support, that my university would have been very supportive. I can just give you a quick story as well. Just before, when I applied for my first teacher training, which was at the university that I studied in, and I assumed because I'm a student there, and I should get a bit of favoritism and get in. But I didn't, and I remember that day was about 5-6 hours of just so many things, and I did get rejected literally 30 minutes after leaving. And the reason why I'm telling this story is at the start of last year, I got a call from that same PGCE mentor, and to be honest, all these years I did blame my stammer for that day, but of course that's not the reason why they said that they rejected me. And he got in contact with me, the same guy that did reject me, and he said, Abed, I've got a student who's a very similar like you, a young male, not young at the moment, but stammers, and I want to support him this time. And I kind of figured out, I think he probably did think that I couldn't do it last time because of my stammer, and he did actually apologize. He goes, that should have given you that chance, but I didn't really know much about stammering, but now I do. Can you support this young man and take him into your department? And I went to my head teacher and I wanted to get him in, but we were full. But I am trying to support that person as well at the moment.
I think that's a great challenge for everyone listening about the fact that we need to be really mindful that we don't make assumptions about people's abilities. And this comes up in a lot of different ways, isn't it, with people with disabilities, that actually we need, you need to be asked whether you had the capacity to do that, not for someone to assume that you didn't. And I think that comes up a lot. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Really, really great to hear from you. So we encourage you to follow Abed on Twitter. He's got a brilliant website, loads and loads of free resources. Please do go in and find them and share them with your Senko, and just think about how you're supporting the pupils and the staff who stammer within your school context. So go and enjoy your Saturday, Abed, and we'll see you soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Anna. Bye.